There's always been a problem, a war against the inhabitants of this country and of this continent, Africa. Wars that have also bred and bled into us deeper wars. We always had wars, everyone had wars, but everyone kept their wars on their own continent until the explorers came and decided to use our Cape Town as a base station to continue getting rich as they travel around to other places, and that's when everything fell apart. The rules we have now are very different to the rules we used to have. And I'm not saying no one should have come, because if no one had come, I'm not sure how we would have gotten the Bible. And I believe in the Bible with all my heart. But there are people who are not people of the Bible. And they have come, and they have settled here, and they have taken the best of everything. They have taken the largest of everything. They've taken places that are closest to where our people work. Our people spend a lot of money for transport. A lot of their money for transport is coming from their little wages. So basically they're just living hand to mouth, and a lot of debt occurs. If I'm only earning enough to transport me to work and maybe a little bit of food, I need more food. I need clothing. I need school shoes for my children. I need. And I honestly thought, and I said this before, I honestly thought the government, Mandela's government, would fix it. I thought all these big, huge farms owned by certain settlers would be halved, divided, and given to those who wanted them, and would, of course, take care of them. I'm not saying everyone should just go build squatter camps on beautiful arable land, but I am saying that there are people like me who would be responsible, many people like me, who would be responsible landowners, who would give back to the community, but are being held back. And the land is ours. The land belongs to my great-grandfather. He was tricked either into signing it over, or it was just taken from him. But the land belongs to me. It doesn't belong to the settler. But that's not what I'm talking about. The point is today that the settler is still settler-minded today. It's not like they stayed behind and said, all right, we will love everybody who looks like Nelson Mandela. It's still the same hatred that created apartheid that exists today. When you get into a lift, I feel nervous. I feel nervous because I don't know how the people will act. When you've had one bad incident, all the previous good incidents, that just go into the background because the bad incident has such a huge impact on you. Trauma will always hurt and impact you more than just normal little moments. And so when we get into the lift at Table Bay Shopping Center, I worry, how will these people be? Will they also start shouting, get out of here, get out of here? Because they think they own not only the farms, the good land, the beaches, the beachfront homes, but they even own a shopping mall lift. And then it's sad that when they do greet, and they just like normal people and treat us like normal people, we both say, phew, at least they were normal. We shouldn't have to say that. That should be the norm. This is Africa. If you don't like Africans, get off my continent. It's so obvious, because we will be here, we will remain here, we belong here, this is our land, and we're not going anywhere. So if you don't like us, get lost. There are two recent incidents that I feel I should talk about, because there's this false narrative that's been going on about a white genocide. Oh, the blacks are killing all the farmers, they're going to die out. They aren't. They are not dying out. No one is going out en masse and killing anybody. There's crime, just like there's crime everywhere. And guess what? The most crime-ridden areas are the poverty-stricken areas, and those areas are always the areas where the people of color were pushed into living, squashed, where they were squashed and pressed into living, just like the ghettos before they moved the Jews to the final awful solution. That's what our townships are like. It's like the ghettos of Warsaw before people were moved and murdered. And unfortunately, just like in apartheid days, murder of blacks wasn't even viewed as murder until about the 1970s, so I've heard. So if you killed a black person before 1970s, you didn't kill anyone. That mindset continues today. I told you how in 2014 I would be scared to take a walk by the side of the road because I was scared someone would just decide, oh, there's some black people, let me smash into them. I feared for my life. I was scared. And then just a few weeks after I first voiced that to my friends, I read in Johannesburg, man was jogging with his friend, black man, black people, just jogging, literally jogging. And two white guys smiling, obviously they were saying, haha, let's get him. They slammed into him with their car and he ended up in hospital. That is the level of fear we live with in this country. And some of us, unfortunately, we might not have that fear because we don't know what's happening out there, but then we give them the pleasure of treating them as if they're royalty. Please don't do that. These people are normal people, and some of them are scum, just like some of us are scum. There was a family. The 19-year-old son, he was waiting for his mother to come back. There is a company, I don't know what company is, a Pomelat, I can't remember, but it's a well-known company that would take its trolley, its lorry, its truck, and go dump expired dairy products somewhere. And all the poor people would know, it's going to come on this day, let's go get the expired food. The tragedy of knowing that people have to survive on expired food, which isn't there every day anyway, is horrendous on its own. Our people were allowed to freely roam the continent. Our people could find land. If this was not fertile, they were allowed to move and look for fertile land. The colonizer came and stripped us of our right to move across our own country and continent. So they go and get expired food. So the 19-year-old son said his mom just didn't come back. That by 9 p.m. that same day, he knew something was wrong. He went to the police to report mom is missing, and he had younger siblings. The police said, okay, we'll do what we can. And then they phoned him and said, can you come with us to a farm? They went to the farm. His mom and another married couple, all black, had been found on the farm of a white person, and they'd been shot dead, multiple bullet wounds in their bodies, and their corpses had been thrown by the farm workers, who had been told to by the owner, into a pig pen, and pigs had begun to eat those poor, literally in every sense, poor people's bodies. That is South Africa. That is happening all over. I told you about our own experience where I wondered, okay, has this white owner told the police that her neighbors go around attacking black people? I don't know. Most recently, I didn't even see it in a South African newspaper, it was a British one, where a farmer was driving his vehicle, I can't remember what kind of vehicle, and a mom and her 6-year-old son were walking by his fence. There was an orange tree by the fence, and an orange had fallen down on the ground. The 6-year-old little boy picked it up, and then he said, oh, look, there's another one. And he put his hand through the fence to pick up the orange that had fallen. And that racist idiot rammed into his mom, but especially into that 6-year-old boy's body. Broke both his legs, and the poor boy is in hospital. The prognosis at this moment is not sure. I don't know what kind of pelvic injuries he might or might not have had. South Africa is in crisis. It is not a white genocide. It's crime and racism, and the racism is not on our side. Most of us are not going around. We don't even have anyone. We don't have trees in our yards, and if we saw a little child picking from the ground, we would be okay with it. When we lived in Kenya, we had an avocado tree, and some man who worked in our garden, He never asked. He would just go and pick from the avocado tree. I didn't even report him to the police for stealing, and that was directly from our tree that we were cultivating. He was a guardsman. He was guarding. And I never even said one single word to him. I mean, I didn't like it because I liked avocados too. And I went to pick the last one and he'd taken it. So I definitely had reason to be upset. But I didn't do anything about it. I'm so thankful that all the British commenters were open at least enough to see, open-minded, open-hearted to see how evil and cruel this farmer was by doing this to this poor little boy. South Africa's stories are deep and painful and ongoing. So yes, some farmers are victims of crime because they are victims of crime, just like Uncle Herbert 2 doors away was a victim of crime, just like 2 blocks away the people were a victim of crime, just like a block away someone was stabbed, was attacked in his own house. Everyone is a victim of crime. And some are victims of prejudice, hatred based on race. Pray for us. Cry for us. Apartheid has not ended.